A blanket of humid air hung over Hong Kong. Neon lights reflected in the shimmering waters of Victoria Harbour. The city, a chaotic symphony of noise and light, throbbed with a life of its own. In a secluded, opulent apartment overlooking the bustling harbour, a lone figure moved with practiced grace. Miss Microchip, a woman of enigmatic beauty and razor-sharp intellect, surveyed the city through the panoramic window. She was elegance personified, clad in a silk dress that shimmered under the soft glow of the cityscape. Her fingers adorned with sparkling rings, deftly assembled a high-powered rifle, each click echoing in a silent apartment. Tonight the city was her stage, and she, the star of a dangerous game. Miss Microchip moved through the throngs of people like a phantom. Her destination, a clandestine meeting in the heart of Kowloon's walled city. The air hung heavy with the scent of incense and spices, a stark contrast to the sterile scent of her apartment. She slipped into a dimly lit tea house, her eyes scanning the room. The patrons, a mixture of locals and tourists, paid her no mind. They were blind to the secret world that pulsed beneath the city's vibrant exterior. At a table tucked away in a dark corner, a man sat alone. His weathered face and calloused hands hinted at a life lived on the edge. He raised his cup in a silent toast as she approached. "You're late," he rasped, his voice heavy with unspoken implication. "Time is a luxury I can't always afford," Miss Microchip replied, her voice a cool, melodic counterpoint to the man's gruff tone. Her eyes, sharp as shards of ice, held his gaze, a silent battle of wills waged in the flickering lamplight. The package lay on the table between them, wrapped in plain brown paper. It seemed innocuous enough, yet it held the weight of 1,000 secrets. This was no ordinary delivery. The fate of nations rested on its contents. "The microchip," the man said, his voice barely a whisper. "It contains the key to a technological weapon unlike any the world has ever seen." His eyes, hardened by years of espionage, reflected the gravity of their situation. Miss Microchip's fingers, cool and steady, reached for the package. Inside, nestled in protective foam, lay a microchip no larger than a fingernail. It seemed impossibly small, yet it held the power to reshape the geopolitical landscape. "My mission," she stated, her voice devoid of emotion, "is to ensure it never falls into the wrong hands." A whirlwind of travel followed. From the humid streets of Hong Kong, Miss Microchip found herself in Rio de Janeiro, a city that pulsated with rhythm and color. The air throbbed with the sound of samba music, a stark contrast to the silent tension that crackled around her. She moved with the grace of a seasoned traveler, her steps sure even in the unfamiliar, crowded streets. Her destination, a rendezvous point nestled amidst the bustling stalls and vibrant energy of Rio's famous markets. The midday sun beat down on the city, casting long shadows that danced to the rhythm of the music, but Miss Microchip remained focused, her eyes constantly scanning her surroundings, alert for any sign of danger. The fate of the world, she knew, rested on her ability to remain one step ahead of those who sought to claim the microchip's power for themselves. The contact, a shadowy figure known only as the Serpent, was a master of disguise. He blended seamlessly into the throngs of people, his true allegiance a closely guarded secret. Finding him was akin to chasing a ghost through a labyrinth of shadows. Miss Microchip relied on instinct and training, her senses honed to a razor's edge. She navigated the labyrinthine alleys, her eyes darting from one shadowed corner to the next. The air thrummed with anticipation, the city holding its breath as she closed in on her target. A whispered word, a subtle gesture, and she found him. He stood casually by a fruit stall, seemingly just another face in the crowd. But beneath the surface, Miss Microchip sensed the coiled tension, the deadly potential that lay dormant beneath his unassuming exterior. "The Serpent, I presume?" she asked, her voice a soft murmur, barely audible above the din of the market. Her eyes, however, spoke volumes, conveying a message of steely resolve and unwavering purpose. The exchange was meant to be simple. The microchip for safe passage, a trade made in the heart of the bustling market, cloaked by the chaos of everyday life. But in the world of espionage, nothing was ever as it seemed. As Miss Microchip reached for the package, a cold realization washed over her. The Serpent's eyes, once filled with calculated indifference, now gleamed with a dangerous light. Betrayal hung heavy in the humid air, a bitter taste on her tongue. "You were never meant to leave here alive, Miss Microchip," the Serpent hissed, his voice a venomous whisper. His hand darted beneath his jacket, emerging with a gleaming blade that caught the sunlight, sending a shiver down her spine. She reacted instantly, her years of training kicking in with deadly precision. The package tumbled from her grasp as she deflected his attack, her body moving with a fluid grace that belied the deadly intent behind every move. The market erupted into chaos, the sounds of screams and scrambling feet mixing with the rhythmic beat of samba music. Miss Microchip fought with the ferocity of a cornered animal, her movements a blur of speed and agility. She disarmed the serpent, sending the blade clattering to the cobblestone street. He lunged for her, desperation fueling his attack, but she was ready. With a swift move, she incapacitated him, leaving him sprawled on the ground, defeated. Catching her breath, Miss Microchip retrieved the fallen package, the microchip safe, her mission a success. But as she melted back into the crowd, she knew this was just one battle in a much larger war. The world, she realized, was a dangerous place, full of shadows and secrets. And she, Miss Microchip, was more than ready to face them all. Her journey was far from over, the promise of countless adventures yet to unfold.